Hey, come see us do a live show. We're going to be in Denver, Colorado, May 11th. Los Angeles, California, doing a live panel show with a celebrity panel and video. Ashland, Virginia, Athens, Georgia, Rutherford, New Jersey, with Max Blumenthal. Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ontario, California, Irvine, California, Chicago, Illinois, with another celebrity panel, live video show in Chicago, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. jimmydore.com. for a link for tickets.
This is Russell Dobular sitting in for Jimmy Dore, who will be in Denver on May 11th. Go to jimmydore.com for tickets. Okay, so this was probably the first of your videos that I ever saw. And I said, you know, wow, somebody's doing comedy. Somebody's still doing comedy where they're not afraid to offend somebody, where there's actually not necessarily an ideological bias. It's just a comment on what's going on at the moment.
That's lazy.
So we'll and this was when this dropped. That was the height of cancel culture. Like, you almost had to have a death wish.
You think
to
I
drop
called the
this
peak?
at the time that you dropped it? So we'll look
You'd
at
have
some
to knock
of
at
it.
the door if this was Canada, pal.
When me and Brad first met, I didn't think we'd get along, but turns out we kind of agree on everything.
Your racial identity is the most important thing. Everything should be looked at through the lens of race.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke. We both have a lot of opinions about people of color, even though we barely know any.
I say colored people, but as long as we're classifying them, we both think minorities are a united group who think the same and act the same.
And vote the same. You don't want to lose your black card. Sorry, I don't know. I just think we should roll back
discrimination laws so we can hire based on race again.
Jinx, now you owe me a Coke. Hey, tell me what you told me yesterday.
White actors should only do voices for white cartoon
I've been
characters.
saying that for years. Stick to your own.
Us white people, we have so much privilege.
I agree. It is a privilege to be white. Ask him about interracial dating.
All I said is that black men who date white women have internalized racism, and white men that date ethnic women are fetishizing them.
Guys against interracial dating now. Like, am I being pranked? Did Boomer put you up to this?
Ugh, you know that taco place is white owned?
White people should be making white foods like Kraft macaroni and cheese, no seasoning, not even salt. It's like he's a mind reader. I mean, I've been pushing for segregation forever, and my man does what?
I created an improv comedy show exclusively for ethnic people.
Guy segregates comedy on my birthday.
White people need to stop wearing dreadlocks, and they need to stop appropriating black people's music.
Shaved heads and country music, the way God intended.
You know all white people are racist.
I'm listening.
Even if you have a black wife or a black friend group, you're still really racist.
You know, we just kicked a guy out of the organization for having a black girlfriend, but if you can promise me he's still really racist, we'll consider letting him back in.
Black people should only shop at black businesses.
I guess the only thing we really disagree about is I think white people are the root of all evil.
But what did I tell you, though? If we can narrow that down to a certain group of tiny-hatted white people, I think we can come to an understanding.
Technically, I don't consider Jewish people white.
Neither do I.
Okay.
Wow, I
now,
never saw that. That's
I believe that was the first thing that I saw of yours, and honestly, especially at that time, it was so out of left field. It was, oh wow. So this is what SNL might be like if it hadn't been eaten by political correctness. This is the kind of sketch you might see on it. And at that time, did you have trouble with YouTube, or even do you have trouble with YouTube? Because people in our space, we have a lot of problems with that.
I'm a trouble as you. It's funny watching that now, actually. Because I haven't seen that in forever. That's the problem a little bit with like internet sketches in general. I always feel like 6 months, like what seemed like the hottest point, like 6 years later, you're kind of like, everyone thinks that now. You know what I mean?
Well, yes, and that's another point. At the time that you dropped this, that's why I say back then,
yeah,
like that was really, really, really out there.
A part
to
of that,
do something like
I bet
that.
you Kurt has a little bit of this too.
What?
Where sometimes a lot of times people are like, that was like, oh, I can't believe you said that, and you're just like, I didn't even realize this was that crazy. I'm like almost like like you're like looping enough
until yeah.
Yeah, people are like, that was very brave of you, and you're like, well, I didn't even realize that was offensive.
Well, I don't think that. I think that's still completely relevant today. I mean, I think,
yeah, no, it doesn't read as dated at all.
It shouldn't.
No,
be.
not at all. It just feels like I feel less watching it now like that's the end of your career than I did when I saw it 3 years ago.
So now, Ryan, you have real Hollywood representation, which I do not anymore. Right? I was with Brillstein for a while, and some other.
I fired my managers actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so now, do you just kind of represent yourself and just do?
Well, I have an agent. I just don't even know what a manager. I, honest to God, don't really know what a manager does. Like
No
I've
one
tried.
does.
I've had 2 managers in Hollywood, and it's like literally after 6 months, I'm like, what do you do? What is this? They would just do little things like, you know, they have assistants that kind of help you with stuff, but it's like I already have people that work for me, so I'm not really sure what they do. Agent I have that works, yeah.
I was lucky. I had a really good manager. He got me book deal that I didn't deserve. He got me an hour special on Comedy Central. He got me an hour special on Hulu. He got me everything I got. He got me. So I was
That's
lucky.
good.
There's Alex Murray he's really fantastic guy. But you're with a real agency right now, right? So,
yeah, I'm with CAA. I think once you leave the industry, kind of in general, that you kind of like just think of it differently. Like I remember them bringing me stuff, being like, "Hey, they really want you to like be like one of the writers on the new Stephen Colbert cartoon." And I was just like, "Are you out of your mind?" I was like, "Never, don't bring me this." Like they just like, I don't want to do any of that stuff. Like even I don't know. They're just like,
That's Joe Biden's agents. Joe Biden's agency.
That's right. Joe Biden's rep by CAA.
Is
So
it?
that's a
I
good
know.
agent.
I know it is funny. They have like some inter-office politics there because they have. I know that like this isn't even anyone specific, but they were kind of trying to make the people put pronouns in their bios and all, and like in their emails and stuff like that. And some of them are like, some of the people there are like, dude, I rep Jordan Peterson. Like I also have to. I can't put who I voted for in my bio. Like I kind of have to be, you know, unpartisan to do my job properly. But yeah, it's like there's the same company that reps, you know, Chelsea Handler reps, you know, Jordan Peterson. It's kind of fun.
No,
Right.
No, you did a great video about when the Gaza carpet bombing started after October 7th, and it was about you were trying to figure out.
Yeah, we're going.
Are you going to show that? Oh,
We're gonna
okay,
show it.
all right.
Oh, the actors.
Yeah.
Well, that okay, all right. So you moved to New York, and being from the theater world in New York, I've owned 5 theaters in New York. I have not. I have not produced or directed in New York in years because who you going to work with? Now I noticed for a little while you were building kind of an ensemble. You did some funny videos with some other people that I haven't seen in a while. I don't know why, but
I still do stuff with lots of other people. To be honest, I've just been on tour like crazy, so a lot of times it's easier to do stuff.
It's easier
with
right.
like just me and Danny or like one other person. I mean, I think every once in a while you want to do like a big thing to be like, just so you know, this is like the kind of stuff I can do and just like waste a lot of money and organize a lot of people. But I mean, a lot of times you write a sketch and you're like, this will have 5 people. You're like, or it has 2 people. And it's like, that's 7 times easier. So I think that's sometimes just like a logistics issue.
Have you had any issues with finding talent to work with in New York? Because like New York and LA are like the shit-lib homeworlds.
Yeah, I think probably there was a point that it was maybe I'm sort of respectful of, you know, because I think that most people kind of thought this stuff was a little bit crazy, but people are all worried about their careers and all that stuff. So I'm very like, if I send someone something and I ask them to be in it, and I'm very like, hey, I wrote your part, not like this. Like, and if you don't feel comfortable with this, I would change it to this. Like, and I kind of usually send people like a couple options. Like, would this be in your alley? So I try to, when I'm pitching something to someone, like if I want someone to be in something and I'm pitching them, I try to be super take into consideration like how they want to be seen.
Do you ever get negative feedback? Do you get people saying,
do I get negative feedback? Who on the internet
for
gets negative feedback?
No, I know you get negative feedback. I mean, for performers,
But
do you
I'm
ever get
sorry
them
for a lot of
saying,
that.
I can't be involved in a sketch with this theme or with this language or with these ideas?
I think one of the things that, I mean, I'm sure that, you know, and Jimmy, I'm sure you relate to this too, and you guys, but there's like a certain level of hate that's normal. And then when it rises out of nowhere, you're kind of like, all right, what's going on here? Like it stresses you out for a second. But there's like a normal amount where you're just like, this many people are going to, you know, kind of. So I kind of feel like that. So there's some people that I put in stuff that are like, you know, my boys from Toronto or like comics that are kind of like aren't really social media guys. And I think just like, if there's ever any controversy, all of a sudden this person that they normally have 10 comments a week now all of a sudden has like 1 million people. I think that just like stresses people out in general. You know what I mean? You're just like, You know, so I think that definitely. But no, I don't think. I don't know. I think that the idea is a lot of times, and this is where I was saying that people say it's like aggressive, but to me it doesn't feel like that. Even with race stuff, like a lot of times you spend so much time kind of like working out something on stage where people are like, how can you say that? And you're like, yeah, it took me kind of a while, but I'm confident I can. You know, so it's actually not like if you go do a joke in front, like let's say you're doing like an aggressive race joke in front of, you know, a super multicultural kind of New York crowd. Yeah, it's brave like the first time maybe when you get there, but like if I've done this and I know it works and I know this point, like the way that I make it works, then it's all of a sudden it's not so brave. Now it's just kind of normal, you know? And then sometimes other people are like, dude, you can't say that. It gets on the internet and people kind of start again. But I'm like, no, I feel pretty confident in this one.
That too.
Oh, you're the only one. Yeah. If you do a lot, I do a lot of
Connecticut get some real stick up the ass. Like, oh, you can't say that. Like, you're better off if you have like one of every delegate.
100%
majority like rule in the audience beside you.
I also find like on top of that, not only do they're like super sensitive about being called racist, the other part of it too is they don't even know. So sometimes you'll be like, everyone knows Puerto Ricans are like that. They're like, I've never met a Puerto Rican. I'll just have to take your word for it. So it's like not funny for them either.
I get lucky.
What are like the different like pressures in terms of negative feedback? Because you obviously do stand up and then you have, you know, this online, you know, YouTube show and stuff like that. Like, because you were saying sometimes you would workshop stuff on stage before it goes online. But then again, like I've heard a lot of comics say that like it's hard to workshop stuff in nightclubs now because everybody has a phone, so it can end up online without you knowing it.
I think that I've been like kind of doing stand up, you know, 3 to 5 nights a week for 14 years. Like if anything, to some degree, I kind of like a little bit where the era where it was like white men are bad. Like I almost liked it a little bit, like from a stand up perspective, not for everything else. It was bad. Like obviously, you know, I remember even doing TV shows and all that, like that industry stuff. It was all kind of like a nightmare, but the actual part where like the actual being on stage, I think the same reason why, you know, after 9/11, there was kind of like a lot of Muslim hate and that like led to, you know, 85 Muslim dudes having like a hot career talking about it. Like I kind of just like liked being on stage and there would be kind of like a bunch of girls to be like a white dude that like looks like a bro. Like I sort of like that energy of almost being the villain. So that era, I actually kind of enjoyed it.
You liked being the heel.
Only on stage. From everything else, it was a pain in the ass. But on stage, I kind of enjoyed it.
Okay, well, that begs the question, and I always felt this was probably true. That point of view was really always overrepresented by a minority online. Like, if that were ever the majority of comedy audiences, you could not have had a career doing that kind of act. Would you say that's true? Like most comedy audiences always liked what you were doing?
I always try to just, like, even on our podcast, I like to think that I'm just, you know, this is the conversation me and my buddies would have at a bar, which are like fairly normal people, you know?
Right.
Like, this is what a group of funny guys thinks. That's kind of like how I see it.
I believe having a substantial percentage of my financial future secured with gold and silver. I do believe in that. You know this if you watch this show. That's why I decided to partner with our sponsor, Colonial Metals Group. They helped me set up a safe and secure self-directed IRA where I have access to my assets no matter what the stock market, or for that matter, what the government is doing. Let the team of experts at Colonial Metals Group help you protect your family's future. We put together a special offer for our audience. Listen to this offer. Click on the link in the description below or call the special 800 number, which is 888-910-1419, and you'll receive a safe. You're going to get a safe and up to 10 grand in free silver. They say up to. I want to know how much that is going to be. So call 888-910-1419, 888-910-1419, and let a team of experts at Colonial Metals help you protect your family's future.
Lots of super chat time since we haven't done any today. So here we go. Oh, and we got shades from Russ. I like it. Okay. We're kicking it off with Italian Stallion. I'm guilty of that myself. I refer to everyone as guys. No one cares. All right.
I mean, I know all the people who care because they're all actors in New York, and they really care. Yes.
I tell Russ and I tell Keaton when he says goodbye, you know, go ahead and call me guys because I'm transitioning as some people Halloween photo.
She is. I've seen the scars.
Yeah. Thank you, Italian Stallion. Unvaccinated guy, Seinfeld listens to Winger. She's only 17 and was inspired to date a 16-year-old.
Who's this?
Seinfeld? I've never heard of Seinfeld dating a 16-year-old.
I mean, I know he married like a much younger woman, or he was dating. Yeah, I'm not up enough on the celebrity gossip to totally get that.
Neither am I.
No.
Tarek, Jimmy, try and get Shahid Bolson on the show. Geopolitical analyst describes college protests as breakdown of America's ruling class for going after elite college students from Ivy League schools. Was the Shahid Bolson. Okay, thank you, Tarek, for the suggestion. Unvaccinated guys back again. Let me just, make sure. Let's see what's in here. Skinny Fats restaurant in Las Vegas was my favorite part of my trip. If you go to Vegas, try Skinny Fats. I'm going back for UFC 303 for more. Okay, Skinny Fats. Going to UFC. Gosh, unvaccinated guy going all the way from Spokane, Washington to Vegas for UFC. That's great.
Huh.
I think unvaccinated guy likes to advertise a roofer. I think it's a roofer in Spokane, Washington. So, assume he's in Spokane. Sparky, fun fact, in 1492, the Ottoman Empire sent ships to rescue Jews from the Spanish Inquisition.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Unvaccinated guy is all over it today. Thank you, unvaccinated guy. I think you're saying Israel is it says garbage. Maybe you mean garbage. Muff cabbage. Okay. Thank you for that one. Sparky, make Israel Syria again. In those Ottoman Empire days, Levant Jews got along with their neighbors, whether Muslim, Christian, or otherwise.
Yep.
Christos, today's special guest is Jimmy Dore. Yes.
Hey, come see us do a live show. We're going to be in Denver, Colorado, May 11th. Los Angeles, California, doing a live panel show with a celebrity panel and video. Ashland, Virginia, Athens, Georgia, Rutherford, New Jersey, with Max Blumenthal. Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ontario, California, Irvine, California, Chicago, Illinois, with another celebrity panel, live video show in Chicago, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.